and then the bulls are released, and you're on your own basically against bulls and a bunch of people.
What's the closest you've ever been to one of the bulls?
At the end, you'll have a close encounter because the reality is that there are only a few places where you can actually get off the trail or the run, unless you finish way too early, meaning that you make it to the arena before even the bulls are released, which happens with most of those that don't know what is going on. And it probably happened to me those first 3 times because it's pretty stressful. So you start sprinting as soon as you hear the noise. And by the time the bulls are in the middle of the run, you already finish.
You make
But
it
then
sound
some
like that like you miss out on some of the fun if you get there too safely.
I mean, it all depends on what you consider fun. Because you just might want to to be there with your friends and get this adrenaline rush, and that's it. And you get it because you are in the middle of a street with a bunch of big bulls. So you still get that if you run, if you know exactly what is going on around you after a whole night of partying, of course. But then sometimes you just wait and then you start learning how to wait or where to wait and how to start or when to start running. And I did that a little bit later. So at the end, I went off rail, but at the end, if you stay within the course, the bulls will be at one point very, very next to you, very close to you, because it's a very, very narrow street. And again, as I was saying, there's no really way out. You just basically go to a corner or try to lay down in the ground, or you fall because there's so many people that will push you, and you're not supposed to touch the ball in the runs. It's not okay to touch the ball. You have to let them go. But again, there's touching because there's so many people and big bulls with huge horns. The one that I always remember is one that happened one of the last times I did it because I was pushed towards a wall and I hit the wall and then there was a bunch of people on top of me and there was a bull there too within the crowd, I guess, just ran over us. And I didn't get stepped or anything. That's one of the most common injuries is when a bull steps on you because they have to go somewhere and they have to jump, and they're very, very heavy. So that can be very painful. But I never had that issue. But I think that was one of the closest situations. Where, "Oh, okay, this is a little stupid," which is stupid anyway.
How dangerous is this?
So I can't remember how many people have died over the last 120 years or so, since I think there's been more or less a decent time, or basically way to count. And I'm gonna say 15, 16 or so. So it's not, the number of deaths is not that high compared, or if you take account all of the runs that happen every year and every years. But the number of injuries is high. So every year there will be people that are harmed, not every day, perhaps, but yeah. So there might be 4 or 5 people that get severely horned per year, and then many other minor injuries like fractures, or maybe you hit the face, the ground, and then you start bleeding, or whatever it is. That's very, very common. But Pamplona has, and I know that also happens in other parts of Spain. That there are other places with runs, but the Pamplona in particular, basically the hospitals that have created in order to avoid delays is extremely good. So you get horned, you start getting treated right there in the street, and within minutes you're in a hospital. It's very, very efficient, and I'm sure that has saved many, many lives throughout the last years.
And obviously, getting horned is about the most salient thing that people think about when it comes to injuries here. But you said you ended up falling and people were running over you, and
Yeah, so I've never had big issues other than scratches. But again, I'm not, even though I run it multiple times, that's nothing compared to people running every day for every year. And we all in Pamplona know somebody who does that. The more often you do it, the higher the chances are, right? Even if you're very, very good, lots of things that you cannot control, mostly because of the people or how slippery things are or whatever. So
so
at
what's
one point, yeah, you'll have an issue. Mhm.
what's more dangerous, the bulls, the people, or the street itself?
Well, the street itself, it used to be pretty, well, I'm not going to say pretty slippery. It used to be a little slippery when it would rain or when they would clean the streets. But now they use a solution that makes it anti-slippery. So the street itself is not that difficult anymore. Other than the fact that again, it's a very, very narrow street with walls and it's hard to get off. People, for sure, depending on the day, the weekends are massive, really, in terms of crowds. Saturday, Sundays are extremely busy. So you can encounter issues those days depending on the type of bulls that run. The organizers also control that. There are some ranches or farms of bulls that are known for their easier to run with people. They don't really go against people, they just go with them, while others are a little bit more, let's say, nervous and they go left and right. So they control the type of bull that runs over the really busy weekend days. But to your question, I mean, obviously, a bull is per se it's more dangerous than a human being, right? Because it's I don't know how many times heavier and the horns. But again, most of the times you're going to be around the people, and for seconds you'll be, if you are a very good runner, which I was not, you'll be running in front of the bull. So then at that point, but at the same time, you're going to have to start jumping people and maybe fighting with elbows, overs. So it's a combination of both. I don't know which one I would say it's more dangerous in terms of number of injuries. I would probably say that the crowds may cause more injuries than the bulls, but the injuries caused by the bulls are heavier and bigger and more dangerous, if that makes sense.
So you're going to get that adrenaline rush wherever you are.
Wherever you are, and even if you watch it, there are balconies all over the run, and you'll hear screams when people well, basically people screaming when they see the bulls coming, and you can actually feel the sound. It's just it's very primitive. It really it's a kind of a stupid thing. It's a stupid, it's a stupid tradition, but it's so inherited within the nature of the city that it's people yeah it's they feel it very very deep inside and yeah. So regardless you're running or outside watching it, the adrenaline levels go up. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.